Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real today. This one right here is for every woman sitting by her phone, wondering why that man ain't texted her yet. You're replaying moments in your mind, thinking maybe he lost interest, maybe he moved on, maybe he just doesn't care. But listen to me, that man wants to text you so bad, he really does. His fingers hover over that keyboard every single day, but something keeps stopping him. And baby, it ain't just because he doesn't care. It's deeper than that. Let's talk about the real struggle that goes on inside a man when he's torn between his pride and his desire. You see, ladies, men might walk around acting like they've got it all figured out, like they're cool, calm, and unbothered. But deep down, when a man wants to text you, when he misses you, when he thinks about you late at night but holds himself back, there's a storm going on inside him that you can't see. That's not indifference, that's conflict. Every man's got this built-in mechanism called pride, and it's louder than his feelings sometimes. It's that voice that tells him, don't be the first to reach out. Don't let her know she's got that much power over you. And that voice, it's stubborn. It's like his personal security guard, always trying to protect his ego, even when his heart is begging him to do the opposite. Now, desire is another story. That's the part of him that remembers your laugh, the way you looked at him, the things you said that stuck with him. That's the part that replays old conversations and scrolls through old photos just to feel close to you again. It's the part that whispers, man, just text her. You know you want to. But pride jumps in and says, no. If she wanted to talk, she'd text you first. So now he's stuck in the middle, torn between what he feels and what he fears. Because every text he doesn't send is him trying to protect his image, not his heart. And here's the truth. Pride is a man's armor. It's what he puts on to look strong, to seem like he doesn't care. But underneath that armor is a whole lot of emotion he's afraid to show. Society's been telling men for generations that showing emotion is weakness. That being the one who reaches out means he's lost control. So when he hesitates to text you, it's not because he doesn't feel something, it's because he's been trained not to show it. He's scared that if he lets that guard down, he'll look vulnerable. And vulnerability to a man who's been hurt or disappointed before feels like standing in front of a firing squad without a shield. But let me tell you something, that pride can cost him peace. It's a prison disguised as power. Because while he's sitting there pretending he's fine, that phone burns in his hand like it's calling his bluff. He checks your social media, wonders what you're doing, who you're with, if you've moved on. He might even draft a message, hey, how you been? Then delete it before hitting send. That's not confidence. That's a man losing a silent battle with himself. Because no matter how much pride he's got, the truth is his heart still remembers. And when a man remembers a woman with that much emotion, it means she left a mark. So when he doesn't text, don't always think it's because he doesn't want to. Sometimes he's sitting in that quiet war trying to figure out which voice to listen to. The one that tells him to protect his pride or the one that tells him to follow his heart. And most of the time, pride wins the first few rounds. But make no mistake, his desire never disappears. It just waits for the day his courage gets louder than his fear. The fear of vulnerability and rejection is one of the biggest reasons a man holds himself back from texting you, even when you're the first thing on his mind every morning and the last thing before he goes to sleep. You might think he's just being cold, detached, or uninterested. But in reality, he's fighting a battle inside that he doesn't even know how to put into words. Men are taught to be strong, to keep their emotions locked up, to never let anyone see them sweat. But when a man truly cares about a woman, that armor starts to crack. And that scares him more than anything. Because vulnerability to a man isn't just about opening up. It's about exposing a side of himself that he's been told the world doesn't want to see. When he thinks about texting you, it's not a simple act of typing a message. It's a risk of putting his heart on the line, of possibly being ignored, misunderstood, or turned away. That fear of rejection hits a man's ego in a way that cuts deep. Most men would rather stay silent and wonder what could have been than put themselves out there and get rejected. It's not because they don't care, it's because they care too much. And caring makes them feel out of control. A man would rather believe he's protecting himself by not reaching out than face the idea that the woman he wants might not want him back. That's how powerful fear is. It convinces him that silence is safer than truth. You see, when a man texts you, it's not just about communication. It's about vulnerability. He's saying, I miss you, without using those exact words. He's showing you that you still matter to him. But what if you don't respond? What if you're cold? What if you've moved on? All those thoughts play in his head like a movie on repeat. That's why he keeps picking up his phone, typing something out, and then deleting it. He's trying to find the perfect message that won't make him look weak, that won't make him seem desperate. But the truth is, no matter how he words it, sending that message makes him feel exposed. This fear of vulnerability runs deep because many men have been hurt before, not just by lovers, but by life. They've opened up and been laughed at, confessed feelings and been ghosted, shown emotion and been called weak. So they build these emotional walls so high that even when someone special comes along, they struggle to climb over them. That's what's happening when he doesn't text you. It's not that he doesn't feel, it's that he feels too much and doesn't trust himself to handle the outcome. He's afraid that if he reaches out and you don't respond the way he hopes, it'll confirm every insecurity he's been hiding under that confident smile. So instead of texting, he convinces himself that silence is strength, when really silence is just fear wearing a mask. But deep down, he's longing for connection. He replays your laughter, your conversations, that feeling of comfort he had when you were around. He wants to reach out to bridge that distance, but that voice inside keeps saying, don't do it, she might not feel the same. And so he stays quiet, pretending he's fine, when really he's protecting a heart that's terrified of breaking again. There's a silent ego battle that goes on in a man's mind when it comes to who reaches out first, and that battle is one of the strongest reasons he doesn't text you. See, when a man cares about a woman but things get distant, it's not that he suddenly stops thinking about her. Oh no, he thinks about her every day. He sees something funny online and wants to send it to her. He hears a song and remembers her voice. But right when he picks up his phone, his ego steps in and says, don't do it. Don't be the one to break the silence. Let her text first. That's pride talking. And pride doesn't like losing. To a man, texting first can feel like admitting defeat, like confessing that he misses you more than you miss him. And for most men, especially the ones who've been hurt or rejected before, that's a hard pill to swallow. This ego battle isn't about arrogance, it's about self-protection. Deep down, every man wants to feel like he's in control of his emotions. When he's the one waiting for your text, he feels safe. But the second he gives in and messages you, he's opening himself up to uncertainty, and men hate uncertainty. So he sits there trying to look strong, trying to convince himself he's not bothered, while that phone burns a hole in his pocket. He'll tell his friends he's moved on, but then he'll scroll through your profile late at night just to see if you've posted something new. That's the ego in action, acting tough on the outside, but trembling underneath. The truth is, ego is one of the biggest barriers between two people who still care about each other. A man's ego will tell him that texting you first makes him look weak, but his heart is screaming that not texting you is making him miserable. It's a trap. He's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. If he texts you, he feels exposed. If he doesn't, he feels empty. So he waits, hoping maybe you'll text him first so he can feel like he's still in control. That's why so many men stay silent, not because they've stopped caring, but because they're waiting to win a battle that doesn't even need to be fought. What most men don't realize is that the ego isn't protecting them, it's punishing them. It keeps them from saying the very words that could bring peace to their heart. And the longer he waits, the heavier that silence gets. Every day that passes without a message makes it harder to reach out, because now it's not just about pride, it's about shame. Shame that he waited too long. Shame that he let the moment slip away. So he keeps replaying the same story in his head, convincing himself that she's over it, that she doesn't care anymore. All the while, his heart is still stuck in that same place, whispering her name every time his phone lights up. And the irony is, the very thing he's afraid of looking weak is what makes him human. If he could drop the ego just for 1 second and send that message, he'd realize that real strength isn't in holding back. It's in being honest enough to say, yeah, I miss you. But until that moment comes, he stays trapped in that quiet fight with himself, losing a little piece of peace every time he chooses his pride over his heart. Emotional confusion is one of the biggest reasons a man can't bring himself to text you, even when he wants to. You see, men don't always understand their own emotions the way women do. When a man catches real feelings, he enters unfamiliar territory. It's not that he doesn't care or that he's trying to play games, it's that he genuinely doesn't know what to do with what he's feeling. One moment he's missing you, thinking about how good things were, and the next moment he's convincing himself that maybe it's better to stay quiet. That back and forth plays in his head like a broken record. He wants to reach out, but then he second guesses every thought, every word, every possible reaction you might give. It's emotional chaos, and he's stuck right in the middle of it. See, when a man starts feeling something real, it challenges everything he's been taught about control. He's been raised to believe emotions make him weak, that feelings are messy, that love is complicated and can lead to pain. So when he starts feeling that pull toward you, that deep connection, he can't explain it, throws him off balance. He's confused because part of him wants to lean into it and another part of him wants to run. That confusion makes him freeze. He doesn't know if he should text you, give you space, move on, or wait for a sign. He wants clarity. But emotions don't come with instructions. Sometimes that confusion is fueled by mixed signals too. Maybe the last time y'all talked, something felt off. Maybe you sounded distant, or he thought you were losing interest. Now, he's not sure what's real and what's just in his head. So he starts analyzing everything, your tone, your words, your silence. He wonders, did she mean it when she said she missed me? Was that last message cold, or am I overthinking it? And the more he overthinks, the more paralyzed he becomes. That's the thing about emotional confusion. It makes people do nothing. Instead of acting, he stays quiet, hoping things will somehow make sense on their own. But deep down, that silence eats at him. Every time his phone buzzes, he hopes it's you. He replays old conversations just to feel something familiar. He tells himself he doesn't care, but his heart knows better. The confusion is heavy because it's not just about you, it's about everything he's felt before. Maybe he's been hurt, maybe he's been disappointed, or maybe he's afraid that what he feels for you isn't mutual. That fear mixes with confusion until he can't tell what's real anymore. He's caught between wanting to reach out and not wanting to look foolish. So instead of texting, he waits. He tells himself he needs more time, but time only makes the feeling stronger and the confusion worse. He doesn't realize that silence is his own decision, that not choosing to act is still a choice. He keeps wondering if you think about him, if you've moved on, if there's still a chance. But because he can't make sense of his own emotions, he chooses comfort over courage. And that's what keeps him stuck. A man torn between what his heart wants and what his mind can't make sense of. In the end, it's not that he doesn't want to text you, it's that he's lost inside his own feelings, trying to find a way to make them make sense before he risks his heart again. A man will often test your energy before he decides to text you. And that's something many women don't realize. See, men may act simple, but when it comes to love and emotions, they get just as cautious as women do. After all, no one likes rejection. No one likes mixed signals. And no one wants to feel like they care more than the other person. So before he hits send, he starts reading the room, not literally, but emotionally. He studies your energy from a distance. He checks how you're posting, what you're saying, how you're moving. He looks for clues, for signs that tell him whether it's safe to reach out or whether he should stay quiet. It's not a game, it's self-protection. A man doesn't want to walk into a wall of coldness. He wants to know if the door is even open before he knocks. When a man is thinking about texting you, he'll test the water in subtle ways. Maybe he likes one of your posts or watches your stories to see if you react. Maybe he drops a comment somewhere just to see if you acknowledge it. He's not doing that to play with you. He's doing that to read your vibe, because to him, energy says more than words ever could. If you seem upbeat, positive, glowing, he wonders, is she happy without me? If you post something emotional or nostalgic, he starts wondering if it's about him. Every move you make becomes a signal in his head, a way of figuring out if reaching out will bring him comfort or rejection. That's why sometimes he hesitates, not because he doesn't miss you, but because he's trying to protect his pride from walking into something painful. He remembers how your energy used to feel when things were good. The laughter, the warmth, the way you used to talk. Now, he's not sure if that same energy still exists between you. That uncertainty makes him slow down. A man might care deeply, but he'll still test the energy because that's his way of feeling out the situation without fully exposing himself. It's like dipping his toe in the water before jumping in. He wants to make sure it's not freezing cold. And sometimes, even when your energy is open and calm, his fear clouds his judgment. He misreads it, thinking you've moved on or that you wouldn't want to hear from him anymore. So he holds back, convincing himself that silence is safer. What he doesn't realize is that by overanalyzing your energy, he's missing the chance to actually connect. Because energy can be misread, one wrong assumption, and he's building a whole story in his head that might not even be true. Maybe you've just been busy. Maybe you're waiting for him to text first. Maybe you've been healing quietly. But from his perspective, he's watching and guessing instead of reaching out and knowing. And that's what keeps him stuck, trapped in this waiting game where fear dictates every move. So while he's sitting there, scrolling through your posts and trying to feel what you're feeling, his heart is heavy with what he's not saying. Testing energy might make him feel safe, but it also keeps him lonely because sometimes what he's looking for isn't out there in the signs, it's right there in his heart, waiting for the courage to act. And until he listens to that, he'll stay caught between what he feels and what he's afraid to face, missing out on something real just because he was too busy reading energy instead of trusting his own. When a man stays silent, even though he wants to text you, it often means more than you think. Silence is rarely just silence. It's full of meaning, emotion, and conflict. When he doesn't reach out, it doesn't automatically mean he's moved on or stopped caring. In fact, many times, that quiet space is where all his feelings live. Men have a way of masking emotions with distance. They think if they don't speak, they can control how much something affects them. But the truth is, silence is not control, it's avoidance. That man is sitting there thinking about you, replaying conversations, remembering your laughter, and wondering what would happen if he reached out. He's silent because he's scared of what your response might say about where he stands in your heart. Sometimes that silence means he's struggling to find the right words. He doesn't want to say the wrong thing or open up too soon. He might be afraid of sounding weak or desperate, or of bringing up old emotions that he's not ready to face. So instead, he keeps quiet and convinces himself that silence is strength. But the longer he stays quiet, the heavier it feels. Every day that goes by, that message he's been meaning to send gets harder to write. He overthinks every word, every emoji, every possible reaction you might have. So instead of risking it, he stays silent and pretends it doesn't bother him. But it does. It eats at him in the quiet moments when the world slows down, when the noise fades, and it's just him and his thoughts. That silence can also mean he's waiting for you to make the first move. He wants a sign, something to tell him it's okay to come forward. Maybe he's afraid you've moved on. Maybe he's worried you're still upset. Or maybe he's trying to protect his heart from rejection. Whatever the reason, his silence isn't indifference, it's hesitation mixed with hope. He's hoping you still care, hoping you still think about him, but he's too scared to find out the truth. Because if he texts and you don't respond the way he wishes, that dream he's been holding on to shatters in an instant. So he chooses to stay silent because silence keeps hope alive, even if it's painful. But what he doesn't realize is that silence sends a message too. It tells you that he's not ready. It tells you that pride still has a hold on him. And as much as he wants to believe he's doing the right thing by keeping quiet, deep down he knows that silence can cost him everything. He scrolls through your pictures, thinks about what could have been, and tells himself it's better this way, but his heart knows he's lying. Because silence might protect his ego, but it doesn't heal his heart. And the truth is, when a man stays silent, it's not always because he's forgotten you. Sometimes it's because he remembers you too much. Every word he wants to say gets caught between fear and feeling. He's not ready to face the emotions that come with reaching out. So instead, he keeps them locked inside, thinking time will fix it. But time doesn't erase emotion, it only hides it. That's why his silence speaks louder than his words ever could. It says he still feels something, but he doesn't know how to handle it. And until he finds that courage to face his truth, that silence will be his loudest confession.